The Green City Startup is an initiative of the City of Joburg which encourages green entrepreneurs to develop ideas in building, energy, water, transport and waste. With more than 2 million rand in prize money, these innovators will make the city a greener place. Our show keeps you informed about the competition, their progress and the green economy in general. This is the Green City Startup. In this episode, creative inspiration on a tour of fashion and design high life in Newtown, a story about Andre Reneker, who's changing the city and its environment, an introduction to mentorship material for green entrepreneurs, and we meet former GCS winner Paseka on the big interview. Hi and welcome to Season 2 of the Green City Startup. My name is Puna Silisho. Before we go any further, you can find us on social media. You can catch us on Facebook at The Green City Startup and Twitter at The GC Startup. Lately, the creative space has been booming with new products and markets, and more people are keen on becoming professional creatives. We went to Newtown to check out some of these entrepreneurs in fashion and design in a brand new collaboration space.
Workshop Newtown, the groundbreaking design-driven local retail concept, opened its doors on November 25th in Johannesburg CBD. Curated by Source, the South African design company, run by Trevin and Julian McGowan.
This is an incredibly exciting new initiative that brings together the most dynamic, progressive, creative minds in fashion, in design, in lifestyle, under one historic roof in Johannesburg.
So first of all, we had this very big empty space under one historic roof, which is the potato shed, and the Source team had to conceptualize what the space could be. So we had a few ideas about fashion, lifestyle and design, and decided to create this space that would welcome more than 50 brands under one roof. The surroundings and the whole Newtown area were really much taken into account in terms of redeveloping the space. First of all, it's under this historic roof, which is the potato sheds, one of the oldest markets of Johannesburg. So the idea of a new contemporary market for Johannesburg emerged.
We wanted to make sure that the participants were relevant for the audience and, more importantly, relevant for the concept. So we handpicked, it was an invite-only application process, and we really picked the people that we thought would be the most interesting mix to ensure that there was something for everybody.
It's great to have, people like Beyonce wear our clothes, but we have, many women who love what we do. We provide a contemporary modern interpretation to African fashion. This is something that is not really readily available, and our customers are very happy.
This is my first shop in Joburg that I'm not sharing with nobody. I think it's a great idea having all these brands all in one place, specifically because it's curated. We go from bags to clothing to vintage, all different avenues, all housed in one space. It's a shopping experience. It's a one-stop shop, and it's brilliant the way that they did it. Open shop, it's like a market, really.
Watershed is a little bit less industrial, but it's got the same great feel of the products vary a lot. There's a lot of diversity. There's not much of the same thing. Everything's local. Everyone's passionate about their product and about their design.
I don't think we could have been happier with how it went tonight. As I was saying, there's just a mix of people from different cultures and different points of view, shopping in different ways, kids, old people, cool people. It's just fabulous, and we couldn't have hoped for better. The main thing is we did it in 3.5 months, from concept through to execution, and I'm really proud of my husband in particular for designing and building this space, but also for all of our tenants for pulling it off.
Beyonce was actually spotted wearing one of Sam Mensah's coats at the New York film premiere of Annie in 2014. That's a pretty big achievement for our Joburg-based designer and makes me pretty proudly South African. On the GCS Facebook site, you will find regular articles and bits of news to motivate and inform startups and established entrepreneurs. The man behind this, Brandon, is next with hints and tips to share.
Hi. As an entrepreneur, naturally you're creative. But let's be honest, it's tough to maintain that creativity. Let's talk about reigniting your creative spark with these tips from Entrepreneur magazine. Firstly, be accountable. If you're feeling drained and uninspired, keep in mind this will pass, but only if you actively make it happen. So, take accountability for how you're feeling. Secondly, don't forget to dream. Think back to when you started out in your field, when there was magic in everything. Compare what you did back then to what you do now. Perhaps you need to reintroduce some of those rituals. Sometimes it's good to set goals that are unconventional and maybe impossible. Next, consider taking your work on a field trip. By taking a work-related trip, you can get a better view of the way your business operates. Consider visiting other members on the value chain. You may gain inspiration from them. Lastly, take some time to work in a new environment. Coffee shops, airports, and libraries are great. In fact, the less conventional, the better. So, to summarize, take accountability, don't forget to dream, take a trip, and change the scenery. That's all from me, so be sure to follow us on Facebook at The Green City Startup and on Twitter at The GC Startup and join the conversation. Until next time, keep focused.
To learn more about the Green City Startup and to stay up to date with developments, you can log on to our website at thegreencitystartup.co.za. Also, find us on Twitter at TheGC Startup so that we can continue the conversation. Energy efficiency has become a focus in entrepreneurship in recent years. With the growing levels of CO2 in the world, it's important that innovations are true to being environmentally friendly. True to our mission here at the Green City Startup, we recently caught up with Andre Reneker, the owner of Dukery Solutions. Let's see how his hydraulics company is changing the city and its environment.
We can reduce emissions, effectively have a smaller engine to do the same work as a larger engine. Miser addresses energy efficiency. Good day, my name is Andre Reneker. I'm the Managing Director at Paseka Holdings. We have developed a technology called Miser. It's a hydraulic hybrid transmission, effectively targeting the automotive sector. We developed it because there's a huge challenge in the world at the moment regarding quality of living, the cost of fuel, and all the harmful gases, the greenhouse gases just floating around. And we know what's happening with the ozone layer and all those kind of things. Miser, being a hydraulic hybrid transmission, is a system that effectively targets engine optimization, and it recovers lost kinetic energy. So when you're driving and you're stopping and starting and those kind of things, you're losing kinetic energy. Any vehicle does that. So we recover that and we store that in an accumulator. What you see here is a transfer case and a pump. So this is the first part of the Miser installation that we do. This gets connected into the transfer case and connected to the pump. We have the accumulator. What you see here is quite a big one for a truck, a nice sized truck. Once it's filled up and it's powered up, if we want to call it that, the system will decide and drive it back through the pump and all the way back through the prop shaft to the rear wheels to drive the vehicle forward. Here we're looking at the physical installation. Above me you can see the gearbox underneath the truck. This is where the Miser pump gets fitted. The Miser pump is then connected backwards to the accumulator or the energy storage device, and from here we'll either drive storage back to the wheels to propel the vehicle, or we'll save energy back into the energy storage system. The control system is by far the most important bit of this whole installation. Having 13 modes of operation, it will decide which combination of the engine or the hydraulic power it will be using at the end of the day. There are three pretty important modes. The first one being the regenerative braking. And that typically when you drive any kind of vehicle and you're braking and stopping and starting and accelerating and decelerating, you're losing kinetic energy. And that's energy that can be used again. So what regenerative braking does, it actually captures that energy and stores it in the accumulator for use later on in the vehicle. Secondly, if we think of engine optimization, and you want to get the vehicle to run at the best fuel consumption, or as we call it, specific fuel consumption line, we have two modes that operate for that. The first one is called torque summing. The second one is called speed summing. And effectively what these two modes do is they make sure that the engine is optimized and the whole system as such, so that we can run as close as possible to that fuel consumption line and thereby save as much fuel as possible. If we look at the global definition and everything that happened in Paris and across the world at the moment in terms of saving the planet, we would fall within energy efficiency. And energy efficiency is pretty important because if we can use the energy we're using, be that a vehicle or anything else out there, better, then we can save on all the fossil fuels which are becoming a challenge in any case, etc., that we're burning to drive vehicles forward, etc. So energy efficiency is where we play. You know, one of the things that go hand in hand with saving fuels is CO2 or carbon monoxide reduction. It's basically a parallel line. So if we can save a large amount of fuel, we can reduce the emissions by a huge percentage. So we most definitely do that, and that is our way of contributing to a better quality of life for everybody in the world. We implemented Miser in a proof of concept by building it into a vehicle in South Africa. We were able to test all 13 modes over a period of 9 months. It was satisfactory to the point that everything worked the way we expected it to work, so the engineers were able to sign off on it and we were able to continue with it. We have patented the idea as well, so we're actually ready to go commercial, but before we can do that, we need to complete our pilot projects, which we are doing at the moment with a large transport company and a vehicle company that has a lot of stop and start, like compacting and refuge removal, etc. That should be done in this year, so in theory, we can actually go commercial in this year, but we might just delay to next year just to not rush into it. There are many people that will benefit from Miser. First of all, every single vehicle owner who has a Miser installed will save fuel because we are hydraulic, we're scalable from small to large, so in theory we can install it in any size vehicle. But just in terms of life, all of us, every single one of us, because by reducing emissions and saving money, we are making sure that we add to the value of improving the quality of life for every person on earth. We have a very good team working on this idea. At the moment, we're still a small team in-house, a couple of business people, a couple of engineers. But in terms of the work that we're doing, we have business people, engineers, mechanics, very specialist skills. Some of those that we outsource to people and companies in South Africa and across the world, just to keep our costs down at the moment, basically. But yeah, there's quite a big team in working on this, made up of ourselves and the company where we're doing the pilot. If we look at Miser and specifically the hydraulic transmission, the exciting thing about this is that we positively affect everybody's life. We're saving fuel, we're reducing harmful gases or emissions from cars, we're reducing the cost of ownership of a vehicle because of the engine service cycles, etc. So that's pretty exciting for us to be part of that process in everybody's life. So our mission statement in terms of this whole project and our company is that we want to be the best of breed supplier of energy saving and engine optimization systems for the vehicle owner out there.
Any innovation that will save me the money I spend on petrol is definitely an innovation worthwhile. Still to come, a news update on entrepreneurial matters in the city of Joburg. And we have a chat to last year's Green City Startup winner on the big interview. Don't go anywhere.
Do you have an idea or innovation that could improve your township? Can you identify a problem in your community that could be solved in a new and different way? This is a call for innovative entrepreneurs with ambition and commitment to accept our challenge. Josie My Beginning is an entrepreneurial competition that's coming right to your doorstep for its second round of investment. We're looking for your idea, product or service in the area of retail, micro-manufacturing, agriculture, recycling, education and skills development. 60 startups from 6 Jozi townships will receive training and funding to expand their community businesses. We'll be building micro-malls, hubs where developing businesses or businesses expanding into the formal economy can grow in our communities. Enter the next round of the Jozi My Beginning competition and you could change your township and your life. Jozi My Beginning. Building businesses in townships for townships.
Welcome back to the Green City Startup. We still have tons lined up for you right here on the greenest entrepreneurial show in town. If you want to learn more about any of the City of Joburg competitions or track developments of the finalists in the Green City Startup, be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at the Green City Startup, along with hints and tips for entrepreneurs and innovations. So be sure to click like and become part of it all. On the GCS, in fact all City of Joburg competitions, contestants are introduced to the best mentors in startup space. They're also treated to video mentorship sessions to reinforce learning, and we thought it was a good idea to share some of that information with you. Here's Liz Dom from Inquisition with the Startup Thought of the Week.
Hello, and welcome to our series on designing and growing a strong and successful business. Let's get started by following up on our previous series discussing design basics. Before you get started with launching your product and business, you should be testing your concept as a prototype. Prototypes. Often a fully realized product with little room for change and tunnel vision testing. That's one surefire way to get things wrong. Luckily, we're here to help. Rough prototypes often spark richer conversations than fully realized designs. Why? Because they leave room for 1. Key discussions, 2. User-centered testing, and 3. Most importantly, multiple iterations. The concept of the minimum viable product, or MVP, has become near doctrine in the startup world. This build-to-learn philosophy integrates seamlessly with a human-centered design approach, leaving you with a product that will undoubtedly have a genuine impact on the gap in the market you're trying to address. We make use of tools such as a milk carton template, storyboarding, camera capturing, and interviews to create rough prototypes that are on track or easily adaptable. As you can see, a prototype needs to be flexible, adapting to user testing for quick iterations, which will lead to a final prototype, which is market ready. Don't get stuck in the details yet. This is what we call the iterative design process, something that you're never really finished with. You start by creating a product prototype, then testing it both internally and with potential users, gathering feedback, iterating upon and updating your idea. Test the updated version once more, and once you feel confident that your product is addressing user needs, you're set to launch. Even feedback received at this stage should be used to continue your prototyping and iteration process. For materials mentioned and more information, visit our website. You're now set to start diving into the logistics of solidifying your business. Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to see more of our training sessions, you can find them on our website along with shorter downloadable information from our shows. Some people assume that successful ideas need to be complicated and fancy, but our next guest and winner of last year's GCS started in his own home. I got to chat with Paseka about his revolutionary idea that won him the title of #1 green entrepreneur in Joburg. In studio, we have the winner of our very first Green City Startup competition. We have Paseka, and he's here to share all his secrets to success. Welcome to the show, Paseka.
Thank you very much, and greetings to the audience.
Sure. So great to have you on the show. You are on the Wall of Fame of the Green City Startup, the first one there. What got you to the Wall of Fame? What product did you have that won you the title?
Okay. I submitted a benchmark product of our company, which we call the WHC leakless valve. Sure. It is basically a retrofittable water control mechanism. The main application platform is toilets. For those who don't know, a leaking toilet can waste anything between 30 to 700 liters of water a day. That's equivalent to 7 bathtubs full of water. So our device would save 70% of the water that would have been lost otherwise. And obviously not to mention the money that is used to pay for that water. Sure. So that's what got us to the Wall of Fame.
And how did you even get to the point where you had that idea?
It was, circumstances that turn into favorable situations. I was seated in my grandmother's house in Garankuwa, and I heard this annoying hissing sound coming from the toilet, It was constant. This was going on for days and nights. And I decided to stand up, close the tap that leads the water into the cistern, and the sound stopped. So logic prevailed that the water coming in there is causing the sound, but I started questioning, why doesn't it stop automatically? Now, considering my grandparents' financial constraints, getting a plumber was not an option. So I had to apply my mind. I've always been solutions oriented, I don't like complaining, because the same amount of time it takes you to complain, if you just apply your mind just a little, you might just come across something novel. So I started doing online and offline research. I started consulting with plumbers and engineers. And then I ended up sketching a rough solution. I contacted the toilet manufacturer, and they asked me, well, young man, are you an engineer? And I told them, no, I have a commerce background. Well, have you manufactured toilets before? I told them, no. I just called to let you know that you have a situation with your toilets, but I have a viable solution. And they told me, well, before we get to whatever you think is a solution, first and foremost, toilets are just like cars. They depreciate and inevitably leak. So it's not a matter of if your toilet leaks, it's a matter of when it will leak. Then secondly, those who are concerned about attending to their toilets, they buy other components. And guess who sells those components? We do. So young man, to cut a long story short, they hang up on me. But then I was agitated because I was receiving all this propaganda from various sources that we are living in a semi-arid country. By 2030, our water consumption might exceed availability of supply, all of that. And I thought, well, if the source of this information is concerned about water, let me go and present the solution to them. Little did I know that it was propaganda. When I got to the receptionist, I was tossed from pillar to post, from one wrong PA of the wrong person to the right PA of the right person who's only available after 3 months. This was just too much. Along the way, I was interviewed on a national radio station, if I may say. It was Motsweding FM, so it was Vernac. And I got calls as far as Botswana, asking 2 questions. How much does it cost? And where can I get it? Sure. And that's when I noticed that, wow, not only can this be my contribution to society, but this could be a business. And that's how it all began.
Thank you so much for that. You've definitely given us so much to think about, and we will start thinking in a more green conscious way as we carry out our practices. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's all from me, Puno, and our guest Paseka, right here on The Big Interview. Lately, Joburg has been buzzing with new entrepreneurial energy. It seems a lot of exciting things have been happening around us, especially in our smaller communities. I don't want to be kept out of the loop, so it's time to find out exactly what these things are. Here's Nolo with the news.
In headlines today, COJ launches phase 2 of the CIF fund, CIF launches mini malls in townships, and the Green City Startup announces top 8 finalists. Hello, I'm Nolo with this week's Green City Startup News. The City of Johannesburg recently launched the second phase of the Josie My Beginning initiative, which is a competition that inspires communities to find innovative solutions to their own problems around them. Present at the launch event, Mayor of Johannesburg, Park Stour, emphasized the importance of empowering local entrepreneurs and the role they play in the development of the city. Staying with the Community Innovation Fund, 6 townships throughout Josie will soon be beneficiaries of the Mini Mall initiative. These malls will be made from 21 containers each and will house computer centers, lecture halls, retail spaces, and will inevitably provide a sales market space for both members and entrepreneurs in these communities. And in our last story, the Green City Startup Competition has reached its final phase. The competition gives entrepreneurs and innovators in the infrastructure and green economy an opportunity to further develop their ideas. 8 finalists have been selected and have already received 250,000 Rand to use for their enterprises. Finalists can still win the grand prize of 1 million Rand to invest in the solutions that will truly make Johannesburg a greener city for tomorrow. That's the news for this week. Remember to keep in touch with us through our social media pages or email us your green news on info@greencitystartup.co.za. From the news team, goodbye.
Next week, you don't want to miss out as we continue to track the progress of our contestants. We visit a business that's teaching and empowering the physically challenged to make their own jewelry, and of course, we rub shoulders with another expert on the big interview. Don't forget to connect with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at The Green City Startup and on Twitter at The GC Startup. That's all from me, Puna Silisho. See you next week. Cheerio.